The Extraordinary Rendition of Janos Farkas. Chapter 28. The Meat District is a city within a city. It encompasses everything from the Brandenburg Gates to the Reichstag, to the upscale shopping on Friedrichstrasse, to seedy little bars and run-down tenements. To many, meat is not just a district, it is Berlin itself. Brüller guided his Volkswagen through the streets. Neither he nor Turk wanted to be the first to say, hopeless. Brüller wished he had said more into the bug lamp, like exactly where in meat he would expect to find the Mercedes with the wrong-colored wheel cover and damaged grille. One thing was for sure, he had named the Mercedes as the clue, and if he couldn't find it, it would have to find him. On the west side of the park into the Tiergarten area, he noticed a car following him. It was not the right shape for the Mercedes. "We're being followed," he said to Turk. "I know," Turk replied. "It's Gisela, isn't it?" Turk smiled. "Is Ein with her?" Turk nodded. "Crap. How long have we been followed?" "Since the beginning." Brüller sped up, changing lanes, running a stoplight, cutting in front of a bus, turning hard right onto a smaller street, and then sharp left onto an even smaller one. He pulled in front of a parked van where he'd be hidden to the traffic coming behind. They waited, saying nothing, waiting for the following car to pass. "We've lost them," Brüller said, as he pulled back out onto the street. Again, Turk only smiled. They had gone no more than a few blocks before the familiar headlights were behind them again. "Don't even try," Turk said to him. "You can't do it. She can outdrive you." "What the hell," Brüller replied. "This is a bloody long shot anyway. If they want to waste their time, what the hell? I just don't want them to get hurt." "Gisela can look after herself," Turk replied. Brüller headed out of the residential section and back to a more happening area. Looking in the rear-view mirror, he said, "I wonder if Gisela and I know that they are being followed." This time Turk did not smile. As he turned to look behind them, he pulled a heavy Glock automatic from his coat. "What's that for?" Brüller asked. "Trouble," Turk replied. "Use this," Brüller said, handing Turk his cell phone. "Tell him someone is following them." Turk left the phone lying on the seat. "Don't tell me she doesn't have a phone," Brüller said. "She has one," Turk replied. "She'll know she's being followed." "Then phone her." Turk did. "Like I told you, she knows she's being followed. The car may be following us and using her as a screen. Tell her to pull over and see what it does." Turk relayed the message. Brüller watched in the rearview mirror as Gisela slowed her car down almost to a stop. When the car behind passed and came up behind Brüller's Volkswagen, Gisela moved back out into the traffic behind the car. "Tell her not to make it so damn obvious she is following it," Brüller said to Turk. Turk lowered the phone and said, "She is following it because the car is a black Mercedes. A black Mercedes with one white wheel cover and a hole in the grille. There are 2 men in the front and 2 in the back. She is covering our ass." "Damn," Brüller said, looking in the mirror. This was the one thing he hadn't wanted. The hunted becoming the hunter. He wanted to go out on his own terms, to choose the moment, to make them play their part the way he laid it out. Now, they were in control. He could no longer act, he could only react. "We'll see," he said to himself, and he hit the accelerator. The Volkswagen jumped forward. Brüller watched for his moment. It came quickly. A gap in the oncoming traffic no more than 3 car lengths. He cranked the wheel hard and made a squeaky U-turn. The driver of the Mercedes couldn't react. There was no time, no gap. Brüller waved and smiled as he went past it. The odd thing about it was the driver of the Mercedes waved back. Turk was talking on the phone. "Gisela is going to follow them," he said. "She'll tell us where we can find them." "Like hell she is," Brüller replied, cranking the wheel hard again, throwing the squealing Volkswagen in the opposite direction. "Like hell she is. Can you see them up ahead? How far away are they?" "I can't see them," Turk replied. But Gisela says they have just gone through the next lights, and the car is making a right turn onto a small street. What street? She can't see a street sign. Through the next lights and right. We'll get them. Tell her not to get too close. They've made the turn, Turk replied. The Mercedes has killed its lights. It's stopping in the middle of a street. Gisela can't get by. A car is coming up behind them. Men are getting out of it. And the front one. Gisela. 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 The phone is dead. Step on it. Brüller didn't need to be told to step on it. The Volkswagen was already swerving in and out of the traffic, gaining a car length here and there, and when the traffic was too tight, Brüller swung it out into the opposite lanes, lights flashing and blaring at the oncoming cars. The lights at the intersection were red, and Brüller's Volkswagen narrowly missed being T-boned by a bus. He took the first right, the first small street, hoping that it was the one. It was bare. No parked cars, no nothing. A single street lamp. It looked like a Bryan street, leading nowhere. Is this it? He asked aloud, knowing that Turk would have no more of an idea than he did. Turk gave him a quick, dry look that was as hard and heavy as the Glock in his hand. Brüller got out of the car and looked around as if that perspective would be better. Nothing. Turk got out, his Glock chest high. They got back in the car and Brüller eased it forward, both men looking for an alley or laneway that the cars might have taken. Ahead on the right, my side, Turk said. It looks like an opening. Maybe it's a lane, maybe it's a trap. He rolled down his window and put his arm out, the Glock pointing at the dark opening ahead. Suddenly, the black opening of the small lane was no longer black. Hard, white shafts of light from halogen headlights flooded out of it. Brüller and Turk waited for the headlights to come out of the lane, to turn towards them, to do something, anything. But the headlights didn't move, they just sat there, hard, white, and very uninviting, lighting the cold brick wall across the street. Brüller took his own gun, a Heckler & Koch P-10, from his jacket and placed it on his lap. I've never shot anyone, he said. Turk looked at him just in time to see his face lit up from the reflection of the headlights in the rear view mirror. A car was coming up behind him. It looked like a trap. The car stopped a few lengths behind them, its high beams glaring in the Volkswagen's mirrors. Brüller twisted the mirror to get the light out of his eyes. Looking back, up the lane, he saw a shift in the pattern of the lights from the small opening. Movement, shifting shadows cast against the red brick wall. A group of people emerged from the lights. There were 3 men and 2 women. The men were wearing black ski masks and had guns. The guns were pointed at the women. The women were Ein and Gisela. One man pointed at the Volkswagen and motioned for Brüller and Turk to get out and to come to them. Car doors slammed behind them, and they turned to see the silhouettes of 4 more armed men coming toward them. In front of them, the group was moving closer. Turk and Brüller laid their guns on the seat and got out of the car. Rough hands grabbed them from behind, dragging them around to the front of the car, pushing their faces down onto the hood, kicking their legs apart, searching their bodies for more weapons. They're clean, a voice said. The rough hands pulled them back up to their feet and turned them into the light. Brüller felt his hands being secured behind his back. The man, the one who seemed to be in charge, said, "Your investigation is over. Finished. Do you understand?" Brüller stared at the man, wondering how this final clue was to play out, why it was being acted like this. And then he realized that the clue needed an audience. It needed Ein, Gisela, and Turk to witness it to make it true. He wondered if this was where and how he was going to die, how his character would come to an end. "What did you say?" he yelled back. "You heard me." "I know your voice," Brüller said. "You're a cop." The man walked up to Brüller. "Then you know too much." "I know your name." "Way too much," the man said. "I was just going to scare you off, but now..." Brüller wanted to say, "Now what?" but he couldn't because a piece of duct tape was being slapped over his mouth. And besides, he knew now what. "Now this," the man said, firing 3 times at Brewer's chest. Brewer knew how to die. He had practiced it. He had seen De Niro do it in movies. As he listened to Hines scream, he jerked back, half twisting, his knees faltering and then collapsing, his face shocked and then silent as he hit the ground, one quiver as his left leg straightened. He wondered if he died as well as Stefan the transvestite had. A hand reached down and poked him. The fake blood would come from that hand. "He's dead," the voice of the hand said. He lay there as dead as he could be. Only his ears were alive. Ayn was crying. He heard the voice and knew it was talking to her. "Go home," the voice said. "Go home. Somehow you've stepped into a pile of shit that you shouldn't have. Go home. There is no future here for you. Go home and keep your mouth shut. You are in over your head. Way over. The police can't help you. No one can. And you," it said, obviously turning its attention to Gisela, "you get the hell out of Berlin and take your fat friend with you, or you'll disappear just like your brother. Or maybe we'll just kill you now, like we did the cop. He asked for it. He was stupid. He was told to lay off the case and he didn't. He ended up knowing too much. We had to take care of him before it became embarrassing." Brewer lay there, trying to breathe without showing breathing. He heard footsteps and Ayn sobbing disappear into the distance. He heard car doors opening and closing, and then a car driving off. It all felt like an eternity. Being dead seemed to last forever. Finally, a toe pushed his shoulder. "It's okay," the voice said. "You're not dead anymore." That's the end of chapter 28. Tomorrow, chapter 29.